You need liberals because now and then the right thing to do is to come up with something new. And you need conservatives because now and then the right thing to do is to do what everybody has always done. And the reason you need political dialogue is so that the liberals and the conservatives can continue to argue about which of those solutions is appropriate right now. If you're an entrepreneur, you need conservative people, because once you've figured out how to do something and then you want to run it algorithmically, you want to run it by the rules, well then it's the conservative types that are going to be really good at doing that and making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed and show up for work on time and have stable marriages and be reliable. And their problem is it's easy for them to get stuck in a rut.
If you got a higher purpose than yourself, that's going to give you the motivation and the energy to drive when everybody else is exhausted and you're exhausted. And if you're making progress, you'll feel the rewards that come from that. And I think those two are twin powers in a great life.
But winning and losing wants to know what's inside of you. It wants to know what makes you tick. It wants to know what your desires are. It wants to know what your ego is. It wants to know what your limitations are. It wants to know what your mindset is. It wants to know everything about you, because winning does not lie. When you look in the mirror, you can lie and see what's on the surface. You cannot lie what's going on inside.
Your income will never exceed your self-identity. And there's a lot of great research of social psychologists like Heidi Grant Halverson who are saying your story about your potential determines whether you live your potential. That's a powerful idea.
Right.
Expressing your power, doing work you find meaningful regardless of what the world thinks, finding people around you who love you, enjoying nature, serving people, being a good human being.
Yeah.
I think greatness is service. I think great service is a great life. I think greatness is finding the way to do more for others than anybody else, because that'll also come back to you in spades from the standpoint of your own sense of internal pride, not external, but your own sense. Like, people could take away everything I have, they can't take away who I've become as a man by my service and by my growth. So I think purpose and having a sense of progress are the two things that create a great life.
The moment you fall in love with your success is the beginning of obsolescence. I think there's two types of power. I think there's external power, which is what most people chase because the world has sold them a bill of goods.
Yeah, I'm referring more like to the personal power.
Okay,
like, yeah.
so what is that? It's your essence. I mean, it's truly boundless energy, perfect health, maximum creativity, unbeatable mindset, and then science is proving all it, like Angela Lee Duckworth's research on grit, Spencer's work on stereotype lift. It just goes on and on. But what's power? It's your ability to take the genius you were born into and unleash it on the world.
And you don't need to compare yourself to somebody else and say, I'm powerful because I have more than this person. In essence, every human has that, but most people don't know it. But it's there as a seed, one could say, in every human being. It's so wonderful, this realization.
I think life is a series of seasons,
right?
And I think there are some times where you go, I can't believe, I've had decades like that, which is amazing, like 7 years in a row where I'm in the pocket and everything has worked. So I've been very blessed. And then I have these recalibration periods where life falls apart and I'm on my knees. I think those seasons in the wilderness where you're like an animal licking your wounds. Right. What does your mind say? You're wasting your time, Joe. Reading all these philosophical books, journaling, praying, going really deep and asking yourself the big questions. But those times when we're in the wilderness crying, licking our wounds, and our ego is going, you're not being productive, you should be making money or, growing your Facebook base, all those nonsense things, right?
Exactly.
Those are the moments where you grow.